So the summer holidays are here again. And for most of you as parents, you know the strain it involves. You know you have to alter your work patterns. Some of you got holidays booked, and some of you don't know what you're going to do with your child. So I thought I'd jump on here, as I do every year, just to talk about some safety aspects of keeping your child safe this summer. I think it's important. I think as a parent or a carer, I think you should understand the risks involved in this summer period, because you know, more recently, one of the cases that I've dealt with, which was quite alarming, is the amount of responsible adults in the community looking after our children when they claim that our parents can't look after those children. That's the messages that they're sending our young children, particularly boys, that your parents do not know how to look after you, and offering them things like vape sticks or single cigarettes and trying to get them addicted or in debt. And it's quite alarming to think that there are people out there in our community that do this to our children, and they're supposed to be responsible adults in our community. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say this, that they should be hung, drawn and quartered for what they're doing. But as a community, we have to tolerate this kind of behavior, and all we can do is raise awareness for our children. So your children that are going out there who just want to go out there. I remember when I was young and, you know, the summer holidays came and it was a wonderful time. I used to go out there. It looked like I was out for 6 weeks. I used to come home on the 7th week. That's what it felt like. And I was having so much fun. But for these children going out now into the streets with all this serious youth violence, with all this gang recruiting going on, with all these county lines, it kind of takes away the fun for our children. And so it's our responsibility now as parents to make sure that our children still get the outside experience, because I think it's important. They need to go out. They can't be stuck in the house on a PlayStation for 6 weeks. That is crazy. And incidentally, there is grooming going on online as well. That's on the increase. But what we have to do as parents and carers is look at how we can be responsible enough to make sure our children are safe. And there's a few things that you can do. One thing is, make sure if your child goes out, and when they go out, make sure they got enough of their own money. You know, you can't have your child coming home saying, so-and-so bought me this. That's madness. Even if it's a friend that you know that they go around with, nobody should be buying your child a thing. So make sure they got enough money to support themselves when they're out. That is key. So you don't want anybody else offering your child anything, not even down to packed lunch. You make sure you send your child out with that sufficient packed lunch, or even water bottles, to make sure your child doesn't ask anybody for anything. Secondly is communication. It's so important. If you have a child that you ring the phone and they don't pick up until the 5th time, this is the time that you have to step in and say, listen, if that phone isn't picked up the first time I ring, there's going to be 2 problems. One, you might be in danger. And secondly, when you reach home here, that phone's gone. You have to be strict on this, because you have to know where your child is. So my thing is called the first response. If you ring that phone's supposed to pick up straight away, because you're paying the bill. So make sure your child does not accept gifts from anybody. Teach them that nothing in life is free, especially food. Nothing in life is free. Always teach that to your children. And for me, lastly, I would say, just make sure you talk to your child, because there's so many children going through transition at the moment, going from year 6 to year 7. And they're actually feeling quite vulnerable at the moment. They're actually feeling that they need that extra support, because they're going off to a new secondary school, which is a new environment. They may or may not know some of the people there, but it's a new environment. And I remember when I went off to secondary school, it was an eye-opener seeing almost 1,300 children who I'd never seen before in a new environment. So they may be going through that transition blues, I call it. So spend some time talking to them about that. Make sure they're right in their mindfulness. Make sure they're prepared for secondary school, and make sure if they've got any questions, make sure that they're open with you and they're willing to talk to you about it. It's so important. I can't drill down on this enough. Talk to your child about their transition. Don't just assume that in September you're going to get them a new uniform and they're going off to a new school. You're going to take that picture of them on the first day and they're going to be okay. No, they may be traumatized from now. So spend that time and talk to your child. But most importantly, make sure you're vigilant with your child this summer. Just make sure you spend that extra time. I know we've all got to work. I know we've all got our own busy lives, but make sure you spend that extra time just checking that your child is safe this summer.